This one hurt enough that JD Vance took to Twitter and essentially called the article bullshit, which is funny because again, it's basically all like Streisand effect shit, you know? I think for the most part they've been trying to enforce radio silence. His tweet didn't go over that well either. Forgive my language, but this story is complete and utter bullshit. The Wall Street Journal should be ashamed for publishing it. Where is this letter? Would you be shocked to learn they never showed it to us before publishing it? Okay. Oh man. It was Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday, and Ghislaine Maxwell was preparing a special gift to mark the occasion. She turned to Epstein's family and friends. One of them was Donald Trump. Maxwell collected letters from Trump and dozens of Epstein's other associates for a 2003 birthday album, according to documents reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Pages from the leather-bound album, assembled before Epstein was first arrested in 2006, are among the documents examined by the Justice Department officials who investigated Epstein and Maxwell years ago, according to people who have reviewed their pages. It's unclear if any of the pages are part of the Trump administration's recent review. Wouldn't surprise me if they weren't. The president's past relationship with Epstein is at a sensitive moment. The Justice Department documents, the so-called Epstein files, and who or what is in them are at the center of a storm consuming the Trump administration. On Wednesday, after angry comments about how the files are a hoax created by Democrats, Trump lashed out at his own supporters for refusing to let the matter go. The letter bearing Trump's name, which was reviewed by the Journal, is bawdy, like others in the album. It contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker. A pair of small arcs denotes the woman's breasts, and the future president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist, mimicking pubic hair. So this is all very like American Psycho stuff, you know, like New York City evil corporate freak stuff, you know, very Wolf of Wall Street. The letter concludes, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." In an interview with the Journal on Tuesday evening, Trump denied writing the letter or drawing the picture. "This is not me. This is a fake thing. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story," he said. "I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women," he said. "It's not my language. It's not my words." He told the Journal he was preparing to file a lawsuit if it published an article. "I'm going to sue the Wall Street Journal just like I sued everyone else," he said. Allegations that Epstein had been sexually abusing girls became public in 2006, and he was arrested that year. Epstein died in 2019 in jail. I've heard of this. After he was arrested a second time and charged with sex trafficking conspiracy. Justice Department officials didn't respond to requests for comments or address questions about whether the Trump page and other pages of the birthday album were part of the agency's recent documents review. The FBI declined to comment. The existence of the album and the contents of the birthday letter haven't previously been reported. The album had poems, photos, and greetings from business people, academics, Epstein's former girlfriends, and childhood pals, according to the documents reviewed by the Journal and people familiar with them. It really is a banality of evil thing, right? The idea of getting, like, a bunch of thoughtful birthday letters for the 50th birthday of a pedophile sex trafficker. It's just such a weird... What do you get for the man who has everything, you know? It's, but in a way, it's kind of fitting because, you know, again, Epstein's job was power brokering, right? I mean, it kind of makes sense that, like, a big flex to him would be like, oh, yeah, here's birthday letters from, like, 20 different presidents and prime ministers, a bunch of prominent academics and scientists. Yeah, here's everyone important and powerful in the world wishing you a happy 50th, you know? Speaking of, among those who submitted letters were billionaire Leslie Wexner and attorney Alan Dershowitz, no surprise there. The album also contained a letter from a now-deceased Harvard economist, one of Epstein's report cards from Mark Twain Junior High in Brooklyn, and a note from a former assistant that included an acrostic with Epstein's name. "Jeffrey, oh Jeffrey, everyone loves you, fun in the sun, fun just for fun. Remember, don't forget me soon. Epstein, you rock, you are the best." Epstein was Wexner's money manager at the time. The longtime leader of Victoria's Secret wrote a short message that said, "I wanted to get you what you want, so here it is." After the text was a line drawing of what appeared to be a woman's breasts. There's something about there's something very sinister about the juxtaposition between Epstein being, again, a pedophile child sex trafficker, right? And also all of these ultra wealthy, ultra powerful people giggling at, like, booby drawings. There's like there's like a sinister moral conservatism to it where they can be committing these heinous crimes, but then they're, like, titillated by these juvenile, like, schoolyard expressions of sexual interest. In a way, it makes it more sickening, I feel. Like, these are almost like, and you'll forgive me perhaps for reaching, these are people who, on a psychological level, seem like they would be satisfied by, like, a lap dance from a girl who looks like a Hooters waitress. And yet, there they are at Little St. James. Like, there's an incongruity there. That seems, it's weird. It's off-putting. It's very Patrick Bateman-y. It is. Sexually immature. Yeah, and performative. It's very performative. Like, I have friends with whom I've had sex and with whom I've flirted. Here's your favorite thing for your birthday, a drawing of tits. What is this? What am I, 10? It doesn't, it's very American Psycho. It's very, I know I keep bringing it up, but it's my closest frame. Like, it's because Wolf of Wall Street, right? Where you have this, like, very wealthy, very powerful person who's very good at a specific kind of people over. And then when it comes to sexuality, he has the mentality, like a juvenile mentality, because emotionally, like, he's not intelligent at all. And obviously, American Psycho is American Psycho, so, you know, you get that. Wexner declined to comment through a spokesperson. Wexner's spokesperson previously told the Journal the retail mogul severed all ties with Epstein in 2007 and never spoke with him again. Dershowitz's letter included a mock-up of a Vanity Unfair magazine cover with mock headlines such as, "Who was Jack the Ripper? Was it Jeffrey Epstein?" Wow, Dershowitz putting the effort in. He's like collaging together, well, aren't they so mean to you in the press magazine cover for Epstein. He joked that he had convinced the magazine to change the focus of an article from Epstein to Bill Clinton. Dershowitz, who represented Epstein after his first arrest, said, "It's been a long time and I don't recall the content of what I may have written." The book was put together by a New York City bookbinder, Herbert Weitz, according to people who were involved in the process. Weitz, who died in 2020, listed Epstein as a client on his website in 2003. It isn't clear how the letter with Trump's signature was prepared. Inside the outline of the naked woman was a typewritten note styled as an imaginary conversation between Trump and Epstein, written in the third person. This is going to be rough to read. Voiceover. "There must be more to life than having everything," the note began. Donald says, "Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is." Jeffrey says, "Nor will I, since I already know what it is." Donald says, "We have certain things in common, Jeffrey." Jeffrey says, "Yes, we do. Come to think of it." Donald says, "Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that?" And Jeffrey says, "As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you." Donald says, "A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." I think you can read pretty much anything you want into that because it's incredibly weird. I think that it's incredibly easy to read this as, we went to Little St. James and fucked kids together. Like that, like, I feel like that's the easiest read if you wanted to. I don't really know. Very weird, sensual thing. Definitely not something you write to somebody if you haven't had a threesome with him. Enigmas never age. Yeah, Jesus. CNN has confirmed Trump has filed a libel lawsuit. When was this published? Oh, wow, this came out just a few minutes ago. Well, here's the thing. Wall Street Journal is not exactly unfamiliar with litigious threats. My thinking is, if the Wall Street Journal already sat Trump down and said, "Hey, we're going to publish this," and Trump said, "I'll sue you if you do," and then they went ahead and published it, my thinking is they were ready for the lawsuit and they're not worried, essentially. What's going to come out in discovery? The letter? How much information do they have on their hands? Like, I really don't think they're going to be bullied by a lawsuit here. Otherwise, like, why would they go through with it? What's your take on Murdoch? He controls the Wall Street Journal after all. Murdoch might not be as directly responsible for this because he's been taking more of a backseat to the direct operation of his companies, what with him being 500 years old. But also, he has had a rift before with Trump. It might be possible, like, this is a little bit like when Fox News stood against Trump. Okay, an important thing to understand is that Murdoch is not an oligarch, he's a corporatist. Well, okay, I should be clear. Ideologically, he stands with the corporatists. Murdoch is an oligarch definitionally, but he's not like Elon. He's not like Jeff Bezos. He doesn't want to be like the one guy who controls the government. He wants to be a financier and businessman who profits enormously from taking advantage of the institutions that already exist, you know? My guess is that Murdoch, to the extent that he's involved in this, might be dissatisfied with the amount that Trump is already wrecking the government and the economy, you know? I think that Murdoch is like a low taxes fascist, basically. Like, to him, all this fascism nonsense is just a way of getting the taxes as low as possible. Trump called the editor-in-chief of Wall Street Journal to shut this article down too. I think Wall Street Journal saw the clout this will cause, IMO, and finally did actual reporting. It'd be nice. But then Fox should be more anti-Trump, no? It's more complicated than that. It's Murdoch does not single-handedly pull the strings of the entire administration. The companies that Murdoch control. I mean, we're talking about tens of thousands of people directly and indirectly involved in the propagation of content, and a lot of these people are public-facing. You know, you can't just make Sean Hannity or make Gutfeld or Jesse Waters or whatever instantly turn heel. What you can do is you can acknowledge a weakness in Trump's armor here, and you can kind of like poke at it a little bit, prod him, see how it goes. Wealthy, powerful people play games like this all the time. Keep in mind that the higher up in the ladder you are, the less likely you are to, in your private life, want to go along with everything Dear Leader is doing. In every fascist regime in history, there have been people alongside the leader who have gone, I don't know. I feel like I could do things better. I feel like I don't really like that so much. I'm going to poke a little bit. I'm going to prod. Sometimes it's a dangerous game. In this case, though, again, Murdoch is 5,000 years old. I don't think there are going to be any direct consequences to him. But that's just my guess. I'm not a mind reader. They went with it because they know it's authentic. Oh, God, of course, absolutely. There's no way the Wall Street Journal would go through with this if they knew Trump was going to sue and they knew they would lose the lawsuit. There's no way. Trump is suing for libel, assault, and slander. And of course, he's filing in the federal court in South Florida. Obviously. Love my legal system, dog. What I'm curious about, I really do wonder what their source is for this. There's no way that the Wall Street Journal has been sitting on this source for years and years and years. They were definitely given it sometime recently. My guess, somebody within the Justice Department, either a former member of the Justice Department or a current. They would never risk publishing this unless they could, if they wanted, to procure the document in discovery. It's Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't think Ghislaine Maxwell can provide that. This information would have been it's evidence. It would have been taken by the Justice Department. Ghislaine couldn't have verified the existence of that. Like, say Maxwell says it exists. Will you just go off her word? No, you need someone in the Justice Department, either the previous Justice Department or the existing one. Oh, Elon. Elon's not in the Justice Department, guys. Maybe the judge who was just sacked. Not in the Justice Department, guys. Justice Department, executive branch. DOJ, under Pam Bondi, current or previous administration. That's where the evidence is collected. That or the FBI, but it's less likely to be the FBI because that's more active investigation, not held evidence. No, what if she had it in her possession? She didn't. They said earlier in this article that it was compiled as part of an earlier DOJ inquiry, but never made public. Among the documents examined by the Justice Department officials who investigated Epstein and Maxwell years ago, according to people who have reviewed the pages, it's unclear if any of the pages are part of the Trump administration's recent review. That suggests to me it might be a DOJ official from a previous administration, because one from the current administration would be able to confirm whether or not it had been included in a current review. Maybe. That's my guess. It sounds like they have a protected source. They definitely have a protected source. The fact that they brought Trump in on Tuesday to interview him beforehand. Oh my God, dude, that explains why Trump has been freaking out so much about the Epstein thing. The Wall Street Journal brought him in and said, hey, listen, we've got some crazy evidence on you. And he freaked out over it, then went to Truth Social and started posting about how everyone needs to move on. It was Tuesday evening. When did he post everyone needs to move on? Or like, when did he say on Truth Social, when he said, you're no longer like a supporter of mine if you still care about this stuff? When was that? Yeah, that would have been right after. Also reported on the Wall Street Journal, updated July 16th, 2 days ago. Tuesday night he was interviewed. Wednesday morning, I don't want their support anymore. Incredible. Literally. Yeah, the morning of Wednesday. Oh my God, dude. No wonder he was so upset. How is this stress not killing him? Honestly, yeah. Inshallah. Maybe that's why his ankles are ballooning. All the rage is pooling down there. Wow. Well, kind of cool to have the timeline laid out that cleanly. That's with somebody as incapable of lying as Trump, that's a pretty direct cause and effect, you know? Jesus. Perhaps we're lucky and he pops his clogs. I won't be satisfied until he has a public crash out and he says he was there and that he enjoyed it and everyone else would too. Trump has built his entire brand not off of respectability, but of owning his disrespectable elements. That's literally from day one. He's not walked back from accusations that he's a bad person, that he's greedy, or that he's, you know, he wants this or wants that. For the most part, he just owns it and says, yeah, that's great. It's all good to do those things, you know? His entire life, his entire career, he's been this like bombastic, I'll own everything they throw at me kind of guy. This is the one subject he can't do it with. Probably frustrates him. Literally, like the grab him by the pussy thing. That was like from the gay one. Any other politician would be like, nope, I love and respect women. But Trump just leans into it. Like every horrid thing that he does or says, it just adds to the notoriety that he clearly enjoys. And here finally, at the end of his life, in his second presidential term, after decades of it being public knowledge that he was friends with Epstein, we've arrived at a subject where he absolutely cannot just own it. I don't know. But what if he did? I mean, so let's see him try. We can find out. What if he does? Well, then what if he does? Good. Then you'll get a great news day is what you'll get. If he did, do you think it would genuinely fracture the MAGA base? The MAGA base is already getting pretty fractured right now, to be honest with you. It's already, right now, there's already a lot going on. Go on vacation? Well, I am moving soon. So that would do it, wouldn't it? That would be like that's sort of a forced stream blackout during which who knows what's going to happen. That should do it. That should do it. And we've seen them do this before. No, not like this. Too much momentum against Epstein. Also, the MAGA base are full of dumb animals who are just looking for good content. Backing off on the Epstein stuff is bad content. There's just no way to frame that in a way that makes it look like good content. They mishandled it too badly, you know? These are losers with little going on in their lives that are just looking for something to oorah over. It's sports for them. So if you give them a bad play, they're going to be upset, not like on moral grounds more so, but like you failed them by not giving them the narrative they wanted. The fallout is good content. That's true, but not in the way they're looking for, right? We'll see. We'll see.
Jeffrey Epstein now threatening to derail Trump's agenda. On Capitol Hill tonight, Epstein is front and center. Several Republican holdouts are saying they will not move forward on a vote on Trump's DOJ cuts unless they get Epstein too. And House Speaker Mike Johnson's back is up against the wall because the House faces a Friday deadline at midnight. So we're counting down here to act on Trump's cuts to the government funding package. And GOP holdouts say that their constituents are the ones that are demanding answers on Jeffrey Epstein, as MAGA media is not letting up.
Trump has done a F-. I mean, my God, it's worse than an F. I mean, it's like a 0 on the Streisand affecting and not having clarity and flip-flopping back and forth. It's just been horrifying.
Trump did this to himself, and it's not even about, let's say, Epstein hooking him up with some hot 20-year-old.
That's not how I would construct a sentence in this situation.
It's the fact that he came out and insulted his base. And said it was a hoax. And so the whole thing is just crazy. And I don't want to get into all of it now. We'll get into it coming up, but it's just going to get worse.
That's the real crime, by the way. That's the real crime. It's not the, close confidant of the world's most notorious pedophile sex trafficker. It's actually that he was rude to his fans. People hit me with that all the time. He looks like if Ryan Gosling became MAGA. I kind of see where you're coming at. I kind of get it, I'm telling you, man, he wanted to say 16 or 15 at first.
The man you heard speaking right there at the end was someone who spent time in jail because of his role leading up to January 6th. All right, so the people who are saying this aren't people who were on the fence about Trump. These are the people who vaulted Trump back to the White House, like Nick Fuentes, the white nationalist whom Trump has hosted at Mar-a-Lago.
And now he says, if you're not on board with...
How does he still look this young? I swear to God, I haven't seen Nick's face in like a year or more. I thought he had a beard. I guess he doesn't anymore. Is he a vampire? Isn't he like 25? I don't, maybe it's because I'm now Unk, but I feel like in my head, he always looks like a kid now. Maybe he doesn't, maybe objectively he doesn't. He's also suit mogging most of the people who we see on the stream. So, I mean, credit to that, I guess.
The Epstein cover-up. Oh, I don't want your support. You're a weakling.
Good tie roll. Good dimple.
You suck. You are fat. You are a joke. You are stupid. You are not funny. You are not as smart as you think you are. We are going to look...
Dude, he's cliff notesing what I've been saying about you guys and also Stephen Colbert over the past hour and a half, man. He's aping my bit!
Back on the MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history.
That's not really surprising, by the way. Nick Fuentes has been distinguishing his community from the mainstream MAGA one for a while with talk like this. It's not novel, you know?
I mean, to think that those words came out of his mouth, they're going to look back on the MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history. I mean,
He said this before. He said this every time Trump backs, like, Israel. He said that the MAGA movement's Jewish, you know, like, it's not that novel, really.
Are people who made their names on the MAGA movement, inside the MAGA movement, by support of Trump. And their attacks are heard by millions and millions. And then there's Elon Musk, who's also stepping up his calls for more information. Today, he posted this. Where's phase 2?
Is it because Trump isn't ideologically a Nazi like he wants? No, it's because Nick Fuentes wants, like, followers and money. Like everybody else on the right wing in this space, the goal is to maximize your audience retention. It's not actually about changing the world. If Nick Fuentes wanted to change the world and make it more Nazi-esque, he would have done what Charlie Kirk did, which is Charlie Kirk is definitely a Nazi, but he swallows his pride and goes along with whatever the movement demands of him because it gives him the opportunity to continue to influence it in the future. Nick Fuentes did the opposite. He said, you know, performatively distanced himself from it as a way of distinguishing himself. Funnily enough, Alex Jones has done the same thing multiple times. There was a while where Alex Jones very performatively distanced himself from Trump after Jan 6, not because he has an issue with Jan 6, like, morally, but because he didn't want the success of his brand to get shackled to, you know, potentially everything that was about to come back and boomerang and hit Trump. Is he really thinking that far? Yeah, these people are shrewd businessmen, of course. That's like the main point of the job. Yeah,